I gave my life to Christ when I was 15 years old at my first youth convention, and ever since then, Christ changed my story.
I rededicated my life to the Lord in 2004. And what prompted me to do that is our leader, our pastor at that time, lead pastor Erubani, he asked a question before that service that, do you know the will of God in your life? And that question taunted me for months. So I couldn't take it no more. So I decided to find out the will, and to find out the will of God in your life, first of all, you have to surrender your life to Christ, which I did, and I get myself enrolled in discipleship class with Brother Godfrey and Sister Stella, and they trained me, and I graduated there. And from there on, the God is marvelous. I'm just a tool for him to use.
I was 8 years old when I received Christ as my Lord and Savior at a church here in Houston, Texas, and that's how Christ changed my story.
It happened at Texas A&M when I was in college, a sophomore. I was experiencing some difficult times, and I started looking up. And when I looked up and asked for the Lord to come in my life, He graciously saved me and has blessed me ever since. So that's my testimony.
I was 9 years old when I asked Jesus into my heart, and it was here in Houston, Texas, at Emmanuel Baptist Church out on the north side. And I have been faithful to the Lord, and He's been faithful to me ever since. I don't know what you do when you don't have Jesus in your heart.
I was 18 when I gave my life to Christ. I actually traveled with a friend to attend a convention at Assemblies of God Church. That was when I gave my life to Christ, and since then, my story has changed.
One summer, '94, I was remembering the song Amazing Grace that was sung at the small church that we joined when we first got here from New Orleans to Houston. And Amazing Grace was the song. So as I read the scriptures and remembered how Paul on the road to Damascus was blinded, that's how God got me to start realizing what that song meant. And so I had prayed that God help me to understand what Amazing Grace was. So I understood after reading the scriptures about Paul, how Saul became Paul when he was blinded on that road to Damascus. And that summer of '94 is when I can remember that I rededicated my life to Christ. And I haven't turned back since, and I just love the Lord with all my heart. And I just love Him dearly, and I can't turn back from what He's done. I just thank Him for what He's done actually in my life since I've been rededicated to my Lord and Savior Jesus.
My husband bring me here in this Christian church and accepted the Jesus Christ in February 1986. And my history is changed that day.
And then, you go back to school, and then you backslide, and then you save, and you backslide. And I guess then I really felt it when I probably was 25 years old, and I stopped going out to clubs and realized I need something better than this. And I gave my life to Christ at that time, and it just really felt good to me. I started going to church, and I really enjoyed being where I was at that point in my life. Joined the orchestra, and I just started participating in things and just enjoying being with Christ. And I guess that's around the time when I decided or gave myself completely to Christ.
I was 23 years old. I had returned to San Jose, California, March the 8th, 1972. I went to church during a revival. The choir was singing the chorus of "At the Cross, at the Cross." They must have sang it 20 times before the Spirit just convicted me. And I got up to escape. But the Spirit drew me to the altar, and something I never thought I would do. is cry in public. And I cried all the way to the altar to give my heart to Jesus. And that changed my whole history. And I thank God for that day.
When I gave my life to Christ, I was about 10 years old, and I was attending a small church in Los Angeles, California, Greater First Baptist Church, as a matter of fact. And I think I was baptized at that time, but I think it was more out of fear, because I always thought that Jesus was coming any minute, and he was coming in the clouds, and I would go to hell if I wasn't living right, quote unquote, living right. But at the age of late 30s and 40s, I really, truly gave my life to Christ. And I think most of it was out of a tragedy, that a great loss in my life, but I wanted to honor God in that loss. And so I came to really know not just the fear of God, but the love of God. And so I wanted to do work in that. And so I have just started working with youth ministry and just trying to give back out of a loss, and just for the love of Christ, knowing the love of Christ and knowing that he can use you through that love to love others.